Guys, it's Sarah, and today we're going to talk about some authors that I have read this year that had their debut novels released this year, and I read them. And now these authors are going to be authors I'm keeping an eye on because if they release more books, I want to read them. So the first one is easy. This is B.B. Alston. He wrote Amari and the Night Brothers, which is the first book in a middle grade series that came out earlier this year. I read it. I loved it. It's going to be in my top 10 for my favorite books of the year because I absolutely loved Amari and the Night Brothers. It was so good. It was so entertaining. The magic was just awesome, and I loved it. So it's easy for me to say him because he does have the second book coming out in April. So there is going to be more coming from him. But even if he writes something other than Amari, I don't know if this is going to be like his one thing that he does or if he's going to write more different things aside from this world. But if he does, I'm going to pick it up because I loved his writing. It was paced really, really well. It was entertaining, and just the magic system he came up with, I absolutely loved. So he's definitely going to be someone I'm going to be looking out for in the future, both Amari and anything else he writes. The next one is Tracy Lang, and she wrote We Are the Brennans. I loved this book, you guys, and it was a surprise. I did not expect to love this book as much as I did when I picked it up. It is a shorter book. It is a family drama, and it follows a family that is living in New York City. They are kind of Irish descent, and you follow their drama, and there's a lot of it. For such a short book, there was a lot packed in there, and she drew me in right away. And I cared about these characters almost immediately. And I don't know what it was. I just had such a connection with them that I was just like wanting the best for them right from the get-go. I was just like, oh my gosh, I love these people, and I love their connections, and I love their loyalty. And, you know, you're finding out some secrets that are happening. But along the way, yes, there were lots of secrets, but along the way, you saw them communicate better, and you saw them go, we need to stop keeping secrets from each other. Let's just lay everything out on the table. And I really appreciated that. And that just got me more on board with what they were going through and wanting them to be okay. I loved it. I thought it was great. I had a great time reading it. I read it really quickly. So if Tracy Lang writes anymore, I'm going to be picking it up. Another one is Sarah Penner. She wrote The Lost Apothecary, and I really, really loved this book. And this is a historical fiction, but it's a dual timeline. So there is a very historical timeline, and then there's a more present timeline as well. And it follows, in the historical timeline, you're following a woman who has kind of created her own little business, if you will, where women can come to her secretly and they can request some solutions to problematic men in their lives who are holding them down, physically, emotionally, mentally, all that stuff, and who are not treating them well. And she can provide solutions to that problem by way of poison, basically, and make it untraceable. So that is kind of the premise of the timeline in the beginning, or the historical timeline. And then in the present timeline, you're following a woman who ends up finding an artifact from this apothecary. And so she goes into some deep research about, you know, what this apothecary was, who the woman was behind it, the implications for all that, and all that kind of stuff. So it was really good. It was really, really good. I enjoyed both timelines, and I thought the writing was beautiful. I felt transported there. And so if Sarah Penner writes anymore, I'm definitely going to be picking it up. And the last one is Ashley Audrain. She wrote The Push. This was a big book this year. And this one definitely was a harder read because it deals with motherhood and not connecting with your child. There's definitely some postpartum discussions in here as well. So if that's something you're sensitive to, this would not be a good one. But it follows a relationship between mother and daughter. And you also get the relationships that she had with her mother, and then a relationship her mother had with her grandmother. So it's kind of a family history of really bad and toxic relationships between mother and daughter. So when she has her own daughter, she's very nervous about that because she's afraid that the cycle is going to continue. and it kind of does. Her daughter is also very difficult, if you will, and presenting some very problematic behavior. And she is trying to decide if it's her daughter that is the problem or if it's her seeing something that's not really there with her daughter. So you kind of see her struggle with that as well. Yeah, that's a dark book, but man, it was good. And it made me think, and it made me kind of cringe a little bit. And it made me look at my daughters and go, thank you for not being like this. Just going to say that. But yeah, it was very, very, very good. And if she writes anything else, I'm hands down going to be picking it up because I was really impressed that this was her first book and she just went to places that were really uncomfortable and wasn't afraid to do that. So I loved it. Okay, guys, those are 4 authors that I read their debuts this year and cannot wait to read more. So I am hopeful that they will be writing some more so that I can pick those up. But I'm going to be on the lookout for them. I'm kind of keeping my eye out. So let me know down below if you guys have read any of the books I talked about. Are there any debut authors from this year that you have read that you want to keep your eye out on? Let me know that down below as well. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you again soon. Bye.